What up, YouTube? This is Steven, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to discuss 10 things, 10 things I love about dark-skinned black people, both women and men. Alright, so if you are a dark-skinned black person, this video is for you. If you are a dark-skinned black person who may need, who may want to listen to someone flatter them, this video is for you. If you are a dark-skinned person that wants to hear positive, things and comments about yourself, this video is for you. And I actually predict that by the end of this video, you will be blushing. You will be blushing so much that we can actually see the redness. I predict that. Alright. But before I get into this video, I do want to give a quick disclaimer, just in case we got some folks coming in, particularly black people. I don't really care about people of other races, but particularly black people who may not be dark skinned, right? Maybe peanut butter, maybe waffle color, maybe, all the way like milk color, So here's my disclaimer. The things I'm going to mention are not necessarily only associated with dark-skinned black people, but oftentimes seem to be strongly associated with black people. And also, just because just because you say you like one thing doesn't necessarily mean that you dislike the other thing. All right. So long story short, this video is for dark-skinned folks, and save the tears. All right. All right. So let's get into this. All right. About time. About 2.5 minutes in. All right, so the first thing, and by the way, these aren't listed in any particular order. They're just randomly listed, right? All right, so the first thing, I think that, dark-skinned people are kind of like living, breathing works of art. If you really look at, dark-skinned people, it kind of does seem like that. Because, I know sometimes I see not only just African art, but even black art, right? And oftentimes you see oh, it's a man and a woman in the picture, and they're both really dark, and that does seem to really lend very well to an artistic rendering, Because think about it, if you replace the dark-skinned person, one or either the male or female, and put them with, say, a light-skinned person, the picture's not going to have the same effect if you think about it, right? Think about, how they have black art and they have a man and a woman, probably a married couple or whatnot, and they're together, hugging each other or something like that. Okay, replace the dark-skinned man with a light-skinned dude, a nice light-skinned man, right? The picture's not going to have the same effect. I know we all black, but we all check the black box, the African American box, but our experiences are not the same, right? And the same thing if you replace, say, the dark-skinned black woman with the light-skinned black woman and have her with a dark-skinned man, it's not going to look the same. It's not going to give you that same effect, right? And also, just in general, I think that dark skin kind of has almost an artistic quality to it, I think it does, really. It's something about it. It's just really is kind of captivating, right? All right, let's move on to the second. All right, I think that here's the second one. So I think that dark-skinned people almost like well, exude strength. I think that they exude strength and kind of like have a strong presence, right? And I think this even comes into play when we talk about police brutality, to keep it real, because sometimes black dudes don't even be doing anything, and this bitch, they just see him as a threat. Like that is strength. They can't handle that strength. That is just that natural strength that comes from black people in general, but especially dark-skinned black people, right? I know I saw an episode of this show called "What Would You Do," hosted by John Quinones, and it was like, this is a quick sidebar, right? So they set up this scenario where these teenagers would be in the park destroying a car, like just in broad daylight, vandalizing the car, and people walking past. People, for some reason, didn't really seem to react the same way to those kids, to white kids doing it, right? Because they set it up where it was like white kids doing it, and then set it up when it was like black kids doing it, right? Difference, right? But even in that scenario right there, it's like someone called, when the white kids were vandalizing, someone called the police, but they called the police to report these black men sleeping in the car. He's like, I think they're up to something, like, in their sleep, while you have these white kids over here vandalizing a car in broad daylight, right? Like, they can't handle that strength. Like, that really intimidates them, you know. And heck, if I was them, I'd probably be intimidated too. Keep it real. I'm just glad we both on the same side. And as far as women are concerned, dark-skinned women, I think dark-skinned women do have a strength as well, and not in like a masculine way, but like a feminine way. It's like a strength that's like, she's really strong, like she won't break down and, have some type of like mental episode. Like she can really endure a certain amount of like mental, I don't want to say abuse, because that makes it seem like folks just like abusing dark skinned black women, but like a certain amount of, I think dark skinned women seem to have like a certain amount of tenacity, right? A certain amount of resilience, which is all present in black people, of course, right? But especially when it comes to dark skinned black women, because oftentimes when it comes to colorism, I think that they get it the worst, but still, they are still going on. They haven't broken down about it. Yeah, they have issues, as we all do, but they're keeping it going, right? And of course, the racism aspect too, because it's like you got the sexism, then you got the racism, but also you got the colorism, right? It's like 3 strikes right there. But still, dark-skinned women rise. Still they rise. And that's, definitely good for our community, because without them, who's going to be raising the kids? I know fathers play a part, but moms definitely play a big role when it comes to child rearing and raising the children, thus raising the next generation. And oftentimes I just don't think that sometimes we give enough credit, right, to dark-skinned women. Because if we do, then it's going to be like, oh, why you have to differentiate? Why can't it be, all black women, which I can kind of see where people are coming from with that. But it's not necessarily to say one is better than the other. It's just to highlight one, one that often gets, ignored or overlooked, right? All right. So we got strength out the way. All right. Next, number 3. Like dark-skinned people are like really regal. Like kingly, majestic, regal, like, you know, kind of like you're looking at like royalty to an extent. You know, like, this person has like a really, like, a look about them that really captures your attention and makes you think that, you know, they are like, you know, descendant from like some royal family, right? And I laugh because it's like this YouTube user who has the name Royal Family on YouTube, and she often talks about this too. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I guess so. Very regal, right? And who else giving you that regalness? You know, who else giving you? Perhaps there are other races. Perhaps, you know, some darker skinned people of other races. Perhaps, you know, but who giving it to you like black people are, though? You know, especially when it comes like black folks, some dreads. You know, black folks, some braids. You know, afro too. Very regal. You know? All right, next. All right, and this one might be a little, you know, controversial. You know, perhaps some people may view it as a little lewd, but let's get into it, right? I think, you know, dark-skinned people, you know, both men and women, are like well endowed. You know, like the body of like many dark-skinned women, like really shapely. Like oftentimes when you, I mean, not that other, you know, shades of blackness ain't working with, you know, ain't endowed, ain't working with something, right? Because, you know, we got access to like, you know, the same genetics or at least similar genetics, right? You know, we all got access to them, you know, um, beautiful, strong, regal, dominant black genetics, right? But oftentimes, I think when it comes to like a really shapely woman, it's like a dark skinned woman seems to take the cake a lot of times. That's really kind of like, I know this is kind of messed up to say, but you know, a lot of times they want to go for like the music videos want to go for the like light skinned chicks a lot, right? But then when they want like a really shapely woman, they make sure to bring in a dark, you know, the dark skinned chick though, which is like good and bad, right? Because it's on one hand it's good because it's like, hey, it's, you know, you acknowledging it, right? But it's bad because as well, it's like, well, is that the only reason why she's here? You know, just because she got like a big booty, you know, nice tits or something, like, you know. But it kind of goes to show, even though even the colorist folks got to acknowledge that, though. Even they got to acknowledge it, you know. And again, not to say that other shades of blackness ain't packing, ain't stacking, you know. But you know, just if we were to split hairs when it comes to women, I think, you know, black women. And usually I don't split hairs to this extent when it comes to black people. I'm just like, okay, we black, you know, that's where it's at, right? But if we were to split hairs, I think that dark-skinned black women would come up on top when it came to like shapeliness, you know, body and, you know, TNA, right? My personal opinion, you know. And as far as like black men are concerned, like black men in general, I heard, can carry the most muscle mass of pretty much, I think, all humans on Earth, really, because they carry the most. Like the women, we can automatically exclude women, and if they carry the most of, can have the potential to carry the most muscle mass, then you know, they are potentially the most muscular people on the face of this earth. And if we were to split hairs, it would probably be the most of the most falling into dark skinned men's lap. Like they would be the most of the most muscular, right? Right. And also, I, I guess I should probably make some disclaimers here. I don't mean to be lewd. No homo. What else I can say? Um, But yeah, let me just get into it. All right. So when you hear the phrase BBC, and I ain't talking about no British broadcast company now. When you hear the term or the phrase BBC, what shade of man come to mind, right? When these women of other races be having Mandingo fantasies and BBC dreams, wet dreams of BBC, who be coming into mind really though, you know? And again, not to say, not to say that other shades of black men don't have it, not to say that, but it seemed like probably the most associated with dark skinned black men. And as well, like they are kind of like the ones that the adult film industry sort of uses and like gravitates towards. And to be fair, like actually, the industry does have like different shades of black men too. To be fair, but they gonna make sure to you ain't got no like no. They gonna make sure that they got a few dark skinned black men up in there. They gonna make sure they ain't letting that slide, right? They're gonna take full advantage, right? All right, so we got that one. A bit awkward, I know, but stay with me. All right. So number 5, dark skinned people are highly resistant to the sun. You know, like if I go out into the sun, like on the beach for a day, like I remember I was on the beach in like Saint Martin, the French side of Saint Martin, and I had put on sunscreen actually. I guess I ain't put on enough, but I had got like a very bad sunburn. Wow, And a quick sidebar, a quick story, right quick. When I was like in elementary school, I was preparing to go away on this like school trip, right? And then I gave my mom like a list of things that they gave us to purchase that they wanted us to give to our parents for our parents to purchase for us, right? And it had sunscreen, on it. And my mom said something to the extent of like, oh, black folks don't need sunscreen, right? And even as a young kid, I was like, I don't know, I ain't really buy that, right? And long story short, I'm like, well, yeah, we black, we check the black box, but all our blackness ain't the same. We gotta be real about that. Genetically speaking, we are not all the same, right? We may, we check the black box, we down for black people, black issues, the black struggle, right? But there still are differences. Let's see, I think I kind of lost my train of thought going off on that sidebar. But back to the sun resistance, right? So yeah, really highly resistant to the sun, You like dark skinned folks, depending on how dark you are, but you probably won't have to worry too much about getting a like sunburn. Although I have heard of like some like kind of like dark brown skinned folks getting a sunburn though. I have actually seen that happen. So you are resistant, but you are not um, sunproof. I don't think any human being is. No matter the darkest of the dark, But very resistant, right? You know, probably would just have to wear like a SPF 15. Probably get 30 because 30 is just the more common one that's on the market. But ain't no dark skinned person gonna have to wear no like SPF 80. Right? All right. So, all right. And I wrote this down on the list. That's just how much, I love dark skinned folks. I gotta make sure I get this right. Okay. Next on the list, dark skin especially has like a really like a richness to it. Like for some reason, it's like I don't want to say like it's chocolate because I don't really like to use the phrase or the terms chocolate to describe dark skin, especially dark skinned women. I don't really like to use that phrase because I think it sort of turns into like fetishization and also kind of like avoiding using the term dark skin because that seems like it's like negative, when dark skin really isn't anything negative, it's actually something positive. So while it's cute, cool, haha, it's like, chocolate and all that, but for me personally, I try to avoid using those phrases, you know. I know we can kind of use them as like a term of endearment, but for me, I try not to. But yeah, dark skin has like a really rich tone, like a rich quality to it that's like really like almost like wow, like almost like the skin is like has like sort of like what's the word I want to use? Like kind of like when you look at food and you can tell that it's really healthy. I guess that's wrong. But sort of like that though. Like it's really healthy and good for you. Like it has like a lot of nutrients in it. Like it's rich in some type of a vitamin or something, right? Sort of like that, you know. And I think that was kind of like passed down through to other black people, that richness too, because I can see it in like the different shades, of black folks, like the peanut butter folks, and the light skinned folks, and perhaps maybe even like the the vanilla flavored white chocolate flavored black people, right? I guess, when we trace it back, ultimately that rich skin tone comes from, the dark skin, that dark skin, genetics that was in your family. So, some folks, working with different gene pools here and there, but, that richness, it came from black folks. You can't say that didn't come from black people. You can't be saying that came from, like, white people or, like, Asian people. Perhaps Aboriginals of Australia, perhaps. But other than that, nah. All right. Next on the list. Dark-skinned people are like really creative. If we really again were to split hairs, I think like when it comes to dark-skinned women, like really creative with the hairstyles, right? Dark-skinned black women be rocking hairstyles, and really they'd be, and then like light skin and the other shades be kind of like picking up on it, right? Like, oh, let me try that too, right? And then like black men like rap music, rock and roll, traffic light, peanut butter, like very creative, like doing all these like creative things, like oh wow, I didn't really think to like turn peanuts into a cream, like I didn't think to like use a record player and like turn that into like a music genre. So yeah, like again, if we were to split hairs, dark skinned people would probably be like the most creative of the shades to me. I think I don't know, something about it. I don't know, a natural creativity that comes with it, or maybe just like I don't know, but for some reason I feel like that's the way it is. All right. Next on the list, and I believe this is number 8. Yep. All right. Dark skinned people especially age well. Like again, like that highly resistant to the sun, dark skin. Really helps when it comes to aging. Excuse me. And of course, again, it's not necessarily exclusive to dark skinned people, right? But I think especially dark skinned people, age well. And kind of like tend to not look haggard, you know, as you get older. I mean, look at Cicely Tyson. They did like a comparison of like Cicely Tyson and the Olsen twins. I'm like, y'all know y'all ain't right. But the sad part is, like, it's kind of true. It's like true, you know. That's the sad part, though. Um, all right. So let's go to the next one. Dark skin hide blemishes really well, like, you know, bruises, you know, facial blemishes, like, you know, like for my skin, like if I'm bruised, you're gonna see it, right? You know. So if I get in the fight, I get my ass whooped, you gonna know that I got my ass whooped, probably, based just on the blemishes, right? But say this is a dark skinned dude, right? Probably not as much, you know. You probably have to kind of analyze the skin a little bit more, right? um, I know, quick sidebar. Like when I was in like ninth grade, I think, there was like this like tuberculosis scare at my school, and the health inspectors, our health department came to our school and sort of like gave us these shots to see if we were carrying tuberculosis, right? Because someone came to the school with tuberculosis, so because of that, we had to like do this whole thing with the health department, right? And I noticed like the shot was making people red, but the thing was, like, I went to school with like a lot of black people, particularly a lot of like brown skin and dark skin black people, right? You know, you could probably count like the light skinned dudes maybe on two hands, maybe 2 feet within each grade level. You know, the light skinned folks, you know. um, but when we got the shot, like the area where I got the shot turned red, and like some people thought that I may have had the virus, not, I guess, the tuberculosis, right? Which was not true. But and also, like, the darker skinned people did turn red too. But the thing is, you had to kind of like look really closely to see it. You know, like, but with me, like, you see it from like a distance, you know. So I guess, you know, it's like the reverse. Like, some people are black from a distance, right? And then some people can be like, I guess, bruised and seen from a distance being bruised, or, you know, some blemishes from a distance, right? So yeah, I kind of think like dark skin really kind of like hides blemishes well and has like a healthy look to it. So even if you are suffering from like an illness or something, it doesn't look as bad, right? Versus if you were a lighter skinned person, a white person, you know, again, a person with like really light skin, you're gonna notice that, you know. All right, this is the last one. All right, you ready for it? Y'all ready for this now? Y'all think I can handle this last one? All right. So here it goes. Dark skinned people have very beautiful smiles, right? I think like the dark skin helps to kind of like emphasize the smile, and like a really kind of like, oh, Kodak moment smile, or oh, Colgate smile, like really good smile, right? So I guess, you know, those are the 10 things that, you know, I love about dark skinned black people. You know, what are some things that you love about dark skinned black people? You know, let me know. Did I miss one? You know, because sometimes, like, wait a minute, you didn't mention such and such, right? You know, um, but yeah, um, I think, you know, to sum up this video, right? I think ultimately the community is a better place because of dark skinned people. You know, dark skinned black people, definitely. But, you know, even more, the world is a better place because of dark skinned black people, right? And I think sometimes, you know, the way that this society works, it seems to sort of like target and devalue dark skin for some reason. I guess that's because of like white supremacy, I guess. But I think we have to know and acknowledge that, you know, not only does it have like very, you know, positive things associated with it, but also that, you know, we as a community ultimately kind of like derive from it, you know, ultimately like the world derives from it, like the human race derives from it, right? Because like according to like the theory, right, the first humans came from Africa, right? Thus the first humans were African, thus the first humans were black, right? So like not only do we as a community all come from it, but we as like a race, the human race comes from it, right? And also I heard, right? I heard that like say like for instance in some weird twist of events, like say like all groups of people outside of the continent of Africa get wiped out, right? Let's say all groups of people except the people in the African continent, right? You know, sub-Saharan Africa, right, gets wiped out. Humanity, we could still get back humanity, right? We could still get back Asian folks. We can still get back, you know, the mestizos, you know, mulattoes, whatever, right? We can still get back all the different races and groups of people, you know, like East Indians, you know, the Aboriginals, you know, white people, if you wanted to, you know. I don't think y'all really should be deserving of a comeback, but hey, I don't know, right? I think we gotta like bust down them caves. We can't be having no black folks going into some caves and turning in white people and coming out and terrorizing us again, right? We can't be going through that again. We went through that once. Humanity, we went through that once, right? We can't be going through that again, right? All right, sidebar, but I'm back. All right, but yeah. So I hope you really enjoyed this video, right? As not only if you are a dark skinned person, but just as a black person, right? But especially if you are a dark-skinned black person, I hope you were able to, you know, find something enjoyable about this video. You know, find this video to be kind of like uplifting. You know, both you know black women, dark-skinned black women, and dark-skinned black men. Right. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video. So, thanks for watching. Adios and goodbye for now.